Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Mad Chat. It's a monthly show where Larson and I put on our Sunday best, and we bring on a guest to the show. And this month is a very special month because finally, I convinced Alex, Queen of the Ring, to be here and to help me do my job better than I can do. Alex, we're recording this on Friday. There's a SmackDown tonight. Are you going to do that for me too?
No. I have done SmackDown reviews on Wrestling with Regret for 6 months, and I was like, Brad, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
But this is going in Raw, man. All respect to Brian Zane. We love Brian. He's a dear friend.
We do.
Now that's
Yes.
okay. It's probably going to help your mental health not to have to cover WWE.
It has helped out a lot. But after this episode, we might call you MF Steve Jobs. Because you're finally going to do your job.
Oh, whoa, wow. Did you think of that just on the spot, or had you?
I did.
So, Alex, 2-time Quizlemania winner, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And where can the people find you if they're interested?
Yes, if you're interested, you can find me on Twitter at Queen of the Ring with 2 G's and on Instagram _Queen of the Ring because I couldn't afford the real name. And then I'm also streaming on Twitch these days, twitch.tv/Queen of the Ring, where Steve bugs me in the chat every day to do his job.
Well, just every day that wrestling's on because I'm like, I really don't want to do this. Raw's boring. Let me see if Alex is interested. And like, for whatever reason, you never are.
I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and those are the days that you don't want to do your job.
Well, it's pretty much every day I don't want to do my job. Who wants to do their job?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Anyways.
Good job, Steve.
I love my
job,
job.
yeah.
I love my job, damn it. Anyways, so, of course, this is Matt Chat. So we get our questions from the patrons at patreon.com/Steven Larson. I think it's the Friendo Club. What tier? I don't know. It's a $20 tier.
We keep changing the name, so I don't remember anymore.
It's one of the. It's some sort of Friendo FC.
For
it's
life,
like for life. I think
Sweet
for
Me
life
Brother or
is
something like
Too,
that.
it's
Good Me
Too
Brother.
Sweet Me, bro. That's what it is.
Or Too Good Me Brother.
So it's $20 a month, and then you can bring your video question to us every month with our special guest. And this month, Joshua Martinez, Jmart, Shop Jmart, is going to kick us off with a text question, and this one is about Joshi Wrestling, which Alex, you, and Kayla host Church of Joshi every Sunday, which is a Sunday tradition for me, drinking my coffee, eating my donuts. So his question is this: what's one thing you believe that women's wrestling in the States can pick up from Joshi Wrestling, or some things that might not translate well? He clarifies and says, I feel that AEW has done a good job so far of trying to bring that talent over and let them work their style, he says, with his minimal knowledge of Joshi Wrestling. Of course, Larson and I, we're not as educated as you obviously are in Joshi Wrestling. So, Alex, what do you think? What could they bring over from Joshi Wrestling to the United States?
So here's the thing. The women in the States have the potential. You just need to give them time. That's really all it is. Because with Joshi Wrestling, like with the greats like Manami Toyota, Bull Nakano, Aja Kong, they've had legendary matches because they have had the time to grow out their feuds and to have such epic matches. And I agree, AEW has done a great job, especially with the tournament on the Joshi side. And everyone agreed that that Shida shined really bright during that tournament when she did her run-ins and even when she had her tag match. But that's because she was given the time. You know, like she's defended that title very little times on Dynamite, you know?
It's been pretty strong.
And she hasn't had that many feuds either. Like her feud with Abaddon should have been explosive. Her feud with Rosa, like Thunder Rosa, right before All Out was like a 2-week buildup, you know? So I think it's just giving them the time. And even if you go to WWE, like what are they doing over there, especially with those tag team titles? The fact that Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are feuding with Sasha Banks and Bianca when they should be focused on their own feud going into WrestleMania makes no sense.
Do you think, let me ask you this. So like, given that you know, are a lot more exposed to Joshi Wrestling, are there elements of like storytelling the way they handle storytelling versus the way you see it in companies over here that are distinctly different, or that they could like adopt aspects of over here? Because like I don't know how like feuds are built over there. Are they like longer feuds? Do they do shorter builds? Like how is it done over there?
It is like longer feuds, and I think that's also another thing that's missing over here is just that, again, they're not given the time to have those long feuds, and when they are having those long feuds, they're just throwing in Reggie out of nowhere for no reason, and especially in Joshi, like they do really great promos there as well. And I've barely seen any good promo in like women's states. Like Peyton Royce had a really good promo, and I felt like they didn't do anything with her after that. You know, Naomi came back in the Royal Rumble and everyone was so excited, and they just threw her into a tag match or a tag team with Lana instead of just pushing her to a feud with Asuka, because that would have been great if they would have carried on a feud with Naomi and Asuka going into WrestleMania, maybe adding in Rhea Ripley, but they were just like, hey, we don't know what to do with the Raw Women's title. Let's just throw in Rhea Ripley because obviously she's going to win at WrestleMania. So I think it's more so, I think the build in Joshi, I don't know. It's time. Like, I don't really know how to explain it very well other than that, because it's with Joshi wrestling. I mean, yes, it's a whole promotion, you know, it's a whole promotion of women. But at the same time, like, how many times are we going to see like Kevin Owens just fail every single week, you know, where it's just like we can give that time to another women's match. So I think it's more so that. I mean,
that's got to be a part of it, like the fact that, you know, the promotions over there are like exclusively women.
Yeah.
I mean, they have their whole thing, whereas in the States, you know, even NXT, which is generally considered the company that, or the umbrella or the promotion over here that uses the sub promotion, I guess, that uses their women like the most properly, I guess. You know, it still has to split time with predominantly a men's division. And I wonder if because I remember there was a rumor that WWE was thinking about, or maybe people just wanted this. They were trying to will it into existence, like a women's exclusive show for the network. I wonder if we would have seen a different approach had they done that over like sort of how they do it now, where, you know, it's if there's a high profile men's title match and if there's a high profile women's title match, you know which one's going to main event. It's going to be the men's. Whereas that's not an issue if the promotion is exclusively women. I wonder if that's like a big difference, you know?
It probably could be a big difference, but then again, like we had a whole cruiserweight show and nobody really cared about that. But that's the thing, is like they had an all women's pay-per-view, which is Evolution, and that was the best pay-per-view of that year. And that match with Becky and Charlotte was, in my opinion, the match of the year 2018. And it's the same thing. 2018 was the first women's Royal Rumble. I mean, you could have their own show and maybe that could have worked out, but I mean, how far is that really going to go when you have like a whole cruiserweight show that didn't really go anywhere? It's not really going anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a toss up, really. And again, like with AEW, when they had their own tournament on YouTube, that they did very well with their tournament and it was all women. And so it's like a maybe it could work, maybe it can work, you know, depends how their approach to a whole women's show. So I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
It feels like, yeah, I mean, it just feels like with anything else, how much you put into it, you know, because like you mentioned 205 Live, and it's like it's like that's basically just I literally every week, because we used to cover it back when its first year or so. And there was some promising something. You had Neville or Pac or whatever on there, and they were doing some kind of cool stuff. And then like I feel like it went off the rails when they brought Enzo in, and it was like, wait a second, I thought this was supposed to be for like good workers.
Yeah, there's that, and then they brought up Cedric and Mustafa Ali and like a lot of the cornerstones of that particular brand removed the main roster, and we didn't have the familiarity with the other people they were bringing in, and you know, it just. and it seemed like the company itself was kind of pushing it to the wayside, whereas it was for like weeks. Maybe it's on, maybe it's not. There's a clip show for
yeah. There were some weeks it wasn't even on. Yeah, you're right.
It's like if we could tell the company doesn't treat this as a priority.
Yeah.
We as why we as a fan base, why should we?
And that's I think that's the general, one of the main problems with WWE is that you just never know. Well, you do know, but you never know what consistently they're going to give a crap about. Like, all of a sudden, Vince will be into one specific wrestler. Like, he'll be into Asuka all of a sudden. It's like, oh, man, finally, he's into Asuka. And then it's like, for an entire over the past 6 months, she's been the champion, and she hasn't been seen. Like, she's basically just sort of rolling with Charlotte, doing the tag stuff, or, like, just not on TV. It's like, oh, well, I know why, because Vince just sort of lost interest all of a sudden. So yeah, that's it's all just what you're invested in. If it's its own promotion, like those people at the top are going to be invested in putting their efforts into that one promotion because it's theirs. So, I mean, that's probably what it is. Whereas Vince is just, to him, it's just like, oh, my little toys here that I have here. All right, let's see here. Moving on. TNA for Life has a question. This is a video question, right, Larson?
Correct.
All right, let's see what TNA for Life has to say.
What's up, guys? It's your boy TNA for Life, back with this month's Matt Chat question. I want to know, Steven Larson, what do you think is going to be the Night 2 main event? Is it going to be Edge versus Roman, or is it going to be Bobby versus Drew? I know that Vince likes to end Mania with the happy moments, so depending on who you think is going to end up winning each match, tell me what you think is going to be the Night 2 main event.
Thank you, TNA for Life.
Thank you.
All right, so we kind of know already what's going to main event Night 2. That's going to be Edge, Roman, Daniel Bryan in that triple threat. Although I guess probably tonight on SmackDown, although this is on Sunday. So, like, yeah, it's probably maybe it's been announced at this point. We're only like 2 weeks
the wheels
away.
Are in motion, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got that triple threat probably. And that's definitely going to main event Night 2. So that's going to be like the main event of main events. So let's talk about what should main event Night 1. Clearly, it should be Bianca versus Sasha Banks. But I noticed in your notes here, Larson, you already wrote that answer. So I'm going to give you another one. It's my feud of the year contender right now. It's Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman. Dude, bring out the green goo again. This is the reason, like that. This is. It's all about the eternal struggle between the smart and the stupid. Because Shane keeps on calling Braun stupid. He stutters when he says his name. He says, Braun. Alex, this is the kind of stuff that you're missing by not covering mainstream wrestling.
Now I know why you don't want to cover mainstream
This is the one thing that I really love on Monday Night Raw because it's so horrible. It's so bad.
It's awful.
And if there's one thing that I love better than good wrestling, it's bad wrestling. So Shane McMahon versus Braun, where Shane pulls off the underdog victory, proving once and for all that, the intellectual should win out over the dullard, Braun Strowman.
God.
And that's how we leave Night 1 of WrestleMania.
Oh, my gosh. Awful.
That's my answer.
Awful. 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 Of course, it should be Bianca versus Sasha should main event.
Of course
Night 1. It should. I think Drew and Bobby are going to put on a hell of a match. But even Bob Lashley himself recently said, hey, our match could be really good if we had time for a build. They're going to have like a month to develop a story. As we saw in Raw last night, they're already telegraphing Bob Lashley's losing that title. He goes and tries to recruit the 24/7 locker room to take out Drew. Obviously not the best strategy.
No.
To hold on that belt, Bobby Lashley. The build for Bianca versus Sasha has been uneven since the Rumble. To say the least. But at least they're taking their time and they're trying to build. Yeah. They're trying to put forth the story rather than just kind of say, okay, we decided what our match at Mania is going to be for the WWE title. Let's just see what we can do in 3 weeks' time. At least they're laying the groundwork for something between Bianca and Sasha. That match is going to be spectacular. Of the matches announced Night 1, heck, maybe for all of Mania, this is one I'm maybe the most excited about. So yeah, definitely Bianca versus Sasha.
Let me ask this. Let me interject really quick before we throw to Alex. There was now it's Sunday, so we're past spoiler territory. Obviously, this already would have happened or not have happened. What if Charlotte inserts herself into this match? Because there is that rumor that she's going to be at some... No, I know. The shaking the... I'm with you, Alex. Would you feel the same way if Charlotte interjected herself? Or should that relegate it then to the kickoff show? I mean, it should still main event. It should still main event, but nobody wants to see that. They want to see it even less, I think, than when she was inserted into the Ronda Rousey Becky Lynch match.
Definitely.
That's my opinion. Alex, what do you think?
I think like if we're gonna throw in Charlotte, then it should be an elimination triple threat and just eliminate Charlotte first.
That's a great idea.
And then, like, she's pissed off, but she can't re-enter. Maybe she sabotages Sasha because there is that history there. But I think it should, if we do decide to do that, just elimination, throw her out within, like, I don't know, like Survivor Series Goldberg, Brock Lesnar time.
That would pop the crowd. Like, you want to get the crowd into it? You do exactly that. That's a great idea.
That is a good idea.
That's a really good idea.
Larson, everybody, when we bring them on, every single time, they always have way better ideas than us.
Infinitely better. Infinitely better.
This always happens.
Okay, fine. I'll do your job.
Nice. All right. So what do you think? I mean, obviously, you're probably in agreement, Alex, in terms of what should main event night one.
Yeah, I think that Bianca and Sasha should main event night one. And especially now, it just makes more sense because we have 2 Royal Rumble winners now. The Royal Rumble winners automatically get the golden ticket to go to WrestleMania. And back in the day, like for the past 30 plus years, it's been that they main event WrestleMania. And now that we have WrestleMania. Main event.
I'm gonna steal that for one of my 2K19
You're welcome.
shows. Yeah. Main event.
But now that WrestleMania is 2 nights, it makes sense that you would have the 2 winners main event night 1 and night 2. Since we're going to have Edge main eventing night 2, it just makes more sense to have Bianca and Sasha main event night 1. And also, the WWE Universe, all of Twitter, has been going off with that hashtag main event Banks and Belair. So just make the people happy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's the WWE. They're not really into that necessarily.
They think they know what makes the people happy.
How about no cases to be made for the Miz versus Bad Bunny main eventing night 1?
I mean, in my heart, yes, but I think maybe that would be a good opener.
That's a good kickoff show match, I feel.
Yeah.
And then there's also, let's see, I'm just looking at the other thing. I'm trying to make a case for anything else. Well, there's Orton versus Burnt Fiend, which if they do that live, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah,
it's going to be.
Seen that before.
We've seen that before live. It was terrible. We were there for that, weren't we?
Yeah, we were there. They were doing the
Alex, did you go to Mania in Orlando?
WrestleMania 33. Yeah. When they did the projection.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, I was I was like cringing. I couldn't see. It was like all the bugs and stuff.
Yeah,
awful.
That was horrible. Awful. So that's pretty much it. I mean, there's nothing even close to. I mean, you have the New Day versus Amos and AJ Styles. Unless Amos, look, if Amos starts busting out like Poison Ranas and like high flying moves, like what if he's like Rey Mysterio but 8 feet tall?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing? That should main event. If that's the case, that should main event.
If he's doing 619s, he should be main event in every show.
I get the feeling he's going to be more of a Great Khali type though. I hope Amos proved me wrong on that one.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Let's move on.
Next up, we got a debut Matt Chatter. Dan. Let's see what Dan has to say.
Hey, Stephen Larson and special guest. My name's Dan. This is my first Mac Chat question. Now, AEW Dynamite is my favorite wrestling show, but they seem to have changed a lot in their storytelling since at the beginning. They used to focus a lot on rankings and that being the determinant of who's getting title shots. Now they've seemed to fall more into like gimmicky booking where they have a lot of over-the-top rope battle royales for the tag division, which is the last 2 number 1 contenders got their title shot that way. They do the ladder match almost every single pay-per-view. They do a ladder match. Do you prefer their old style of booking where they used to be kind of rank-based, or do you like this new gimmick style of booking where they occasionally bring in rankings into the mix? Thanks. Too sweet. Hearty handshake.
Thank you, Dan, and welcome to Matt Chat. Larson.
Thank you, Dan.
What do you say? How should they use their rankings?
They should, but I don't think they should use those exclusively. A mix of both is always nice. So you have your major events, you got your All Out, you got your Double or Nothing, your Full Gear, Revolution. If you want to have a major gimmick match, pop the crowd, maybe get a couple more buys, debut someone you just signed, it's kind of a nice time to do it. And, those type of matches are always better when there's actually something of consequence on the line. So why not some sort of title opportunity? Now, that being said, they made such a huge deal about these damn power rankings when they started this company, how it's going to be more sports-based.
Yeah.
So you can't just shove those aside.
Yeah, that's true.
Got to find a balance between the two. Whether if it's at your 4 pay-per-views, you have your huge match, you have someone come in your Casino Battle Royal, become new number 1 contender for whatever title it might be. Here's another problem. The problem I actually have more with AEW, how they handle those things, than relying on those more than power rankings or vice versa, is you have someone like Brian Cage, for example. He came and won that Battle Royal at Double or Nothing. And within like 2 weeks, I think he had his title shot. Well, he's not going to win.
Yeah.
First, because it's against Mox. And you're not giving yourself enough time to develop that story. It's the same thing with Scorpio Sky and Darby Allin. When Scorpio Sky won the Face of Revolution ladder match, it was like the next week on Dynamite, or 2 weeks later, he had his title match. There's stories to be told there that you can get more out of, I always feel like, than how they're doing it. And far too often when they have these gimmick type matches to determine number 1 contenders, it just feels like an obligatory thing they're doing because people might expect those at their pay-per-views as opposed to a real avenue to tell stories. That's more my issue with how they're doing the gimmick match stuff as opposed to relying on those more in the rankings. But yeah, I mean, ideally it should be a mix of both. But
Alex, what do you say? Power rankings or gimmick matches galore?
Well, I mean, I agree, when the power rankings, when they first announced it, I was very excited because I thought they were going to kind of build it off. It was like a UFC kind of thing where they have their power rankings, and it was like, okay, this person, like, I thought it was going to be like, because in UFC, they have like, this person is a champion, but then this person's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. So I thought that's how they were going to do it with their divisions. And they just all over it. But I agree with the gimmicks. Like, it would be cool if they actually built it and told a story with it. I agree with the Scorpio Sky. Was it the brass ring?
It was the big Sonic ring. Yeah,
it was the big Sonic ring. And then he won that Sunday and then had a match that Wednesday. Where's the story there? It's just like, oh, he just won this match, he's gonna have this title, but he's clearly not gonna win. Like, there's no excitement behind that. There's no reason for me to get behind that match. And I don't know. What are they doing over there? What are they doing? It's just like they're throwing around these gimmick, like the casino one. What was the one with the tag at Revolution?
Oh, the casino battle. It was like, it was the tag casino battle.
Yeah, the tag one.
Yeah,
that was exciting. But even that, it's just like, did they just win it just to win it? Like, there's nothing behind it. So I could take it or leave it.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, I had no idea that Ty Conti was like so high up in the power rankings, because that shit happens on Dark, and I don't watch Dark, and I don't want to feel obligated to watch Dark. So if you're going to do something like Dark, maybe if you're going to have somebody who's really high up in the rankings, like, give us some little clips on Dynamite so you can catch me up. Like, maybe even do like a little segment, like a 2-minute segment where you do like, oh, let's take a look at the rankings now. I think that, now, number one, look, I love anything like gimmicky. I love that stuff. I love the giant brass ring. But your point is entirely correct. That Scorpio Sky, we all knew he was not going to win the title. And they sort of used that to launch him into his new attitude. His heel turn. But I think that if you want to add some drama, why aren't you using the rankings more to do that? I do feel like Tony Khan at this point he's very, I said the same thing about Vince, that he's got his toys. Well, Tony Khan is sort of acting in that manner as well, where he's like, oh, whoa, new idea for a match. well, this is probably Cody's thing, a brass ring on top of a ladder, and then they get a title shot. Okay, that's great. Or, hey, I was watching an old WCW pay-per-view the other day. Let's do this idea here. We'll just call it something different, but everybody will know that we're just ripping off this idea. And it's fun. It's really fun. It's entertaining as hell. But it's also one of my issues with AEW is that it kind of lacks drama. Like, we can already plot out where their world title scene is headed. It's going to go to Hangman next. And after Hangman, it's going to go to MJF. We know this. This is clear as day. And so I feel like if you were to play with the power rankings a lot more, like you could build some really cool stories. Like there are two wrestlers who both have like the same record tracking at the same time. And then kind of like what they did with Cutler and Avalon, where they both had losing records the entire time. And then inevitably they had to fight each other to actually get a winner out of one of them. That was kind of cool. That happened on Dark, so I didn't see it. But I heard about it and I thought it was a great idea. You can do the same thing with the power rankings. You could tell various stories with them. It's just that might be because you're dealing. Well, it's funny because Khan is like an analytics guy. You'd think he'd be all about that, like dealing with numbers and the math of it all. It's like that's the great thing about the G1 is that there's so much weird math involved and like trying to figure out, who are they going to go with? And along the way, you have to like start doing math. Okay, if this guy wins, he gets this number of points, but then there's this guy over here. You'd think that Tony Khan would be all about that stuff, but instead he seems to be a lot more into like the fun gimmicky stuff, which just lacks drama, but is decent on entertainment value. Yeah, I think they need to rely on the power rankings a lot more. I don't think they need to be like the American version of New Japan, which is the closest thing you have, sort of like the most popular thing you have that's like sort of mimics a sports presentation. But I do think that like you can have a better balance of, okay, well, this guy's moving up in the rankings and I know this, I'm aware of it. Even just watching Dynamite, you can tell some fun stories with that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Moving on, we got Stephen M coming up next, and he's got a question about who should take the titles off the current AEW champs. Let's have him ask it.
Hey, Friendos. Who should take the belts off each of the AEW holders currently? So we've got Cheetah, the Young Bucks, Kenny, and Darby. Who should be the next champions? And also, what should they do with Sting next? I don't know what they're doing. It's just constant segments with Tony. What should we do next?
All right. Thank you, Stephen M.
Thank you, Stephen.
Alex, you're up first. Who should take all the titles off the current AEW champs? And what will the Stinger do next?
I think Stinger should just stick to cinematic matches if he's going to continue wrestling. And if not, he should definitely... I think it'd be cool if he was probably like a general manager for AEW. That would be cool. But in terms of who's taking AEW champs, I have said this since day one. Eddie Kingston should be AEW champion.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think Eddie Kingston should be AEW champion, and I also think Butcher and the Blade should be tag champs.
They're terrific. They're really good. They're absolutely terrific. I love those guys. What about who should take it off of Hikaru Shida?
I think it would be interesting if, since Thunder Rosa won the unsanctioned match, she should go after the title. She should win the title and continue her feud with Britt Baker, because now you've kicked it into second gear with having that feud going after an actual title. Maybe once Big Swole gets better, you can throw her in because she also had history with Britt Baker. And then the TNT, I don't know. I've always said that Luchasaurus should be TNT champion.
They book him so strong, but he really hasn't accomplished as much as he's like, as strong as he's booked. Yeah. And then the tag team titles. Who should take it off the Young Bucks?
Oh, Butcher and Blade.
Oh, you already said that. Sorry. Yeah, and I agreed with you.
It's okay.
All right. I'm going to go now. Let's see here. Okay, so clearly I just said that I think that Hangman Page is going to take it off Kenny Omega. That's probably what it should be, and it's probably what it's going to be. I'm going to go a different route and say, let's see here. I need a good guy. You know who I want to see it take him off, get that title off Kenny? and I think everybody would totally pop for this. The hardcore guy from TNA, Pentagon Jr.
Oh yeah,
I think Pentagon should take it off Kenny Omega, maybe even just for like a little mini feud. That's one thing that AEW needs to do a little bit more is hot potato those titles. They need to pass the titles around. I thought they might have done that when the Young Bucks got their hands on the tag titles. I think that there was a little bit of like their first year out, the Elite didn't get enough shine, and now like the Elite's getting all the shine. And so I think that if the Young Bucks got the titles, it's like, okay, we fulfilled this obligation. Now let's get them back off because they have like the super deep tag division. So start passing them around a little bit. But for the main title, for Kenny Omega, have Pentagon take it off him for like, I don't know, like the same run he had in Impact with the Impact title a couple of weeks, one set of TV tapings. I don't want them to do that, but I want them to have him for like at least 6 months. I think that'd be great. And everybody, whenever we talk about AEW, everybody says, "Oh man, Pentagon. He's the best." Because he's the best. He's the absolute best. I was disappointed. I thought he was going to get like a lengthier actual feud with Cody, because that's like the kingmaker right there. If you can like get out of a feud with Cody.
He had that moment where he put the hat on and was.
Oh, the St. Patrick's Day hat. That was great. Oh, it was great.
That was his moment.
Oh yeah, that was his title win right there.
If they're making anything a shirt, it has to be that.
It should be.
I want that as a shirt.
Absolutely should be. 100% should be.
I don't know if they've done that yet. I'll check on that.
There's no better answer than Britt Baker, I think, for the women's title. I mean, your point with Thunder Rosa is totally sound, but man, Britt Baker is the one. And it's funny because we talked about this on our I think it was on our AEW recap, about how Britt, more than anybody in recent memory, for some reason knows exactly where the camera is. And so coming out of that match, Thunder Rosa was just as good as her, but you have all the moments captured on TV with Britt and all that blood, and she knows where the still camera guy is, and she knows which TV camera's live. And she always knows how to get there. And coming out of that match, that mattered so much because social media is everything. And so she looked better coming out of that match, even though she lost. And Thunder Rosa was just as good as her. Britt looked like $1 million coming out of that match. And it makes me wonder, like, I know that when she came out on Dynamite this past week to drop that promo, the crowd was like booing her, but I felt like the crowd was doing like kind of what they thought they should do, as opposed to what like an actual real crowd would have done, which is just like cheer the crap out of her, because that's what they should have been doing. So I think Britt should take that title off Sheeta. Tag titles. I like Butcher and the Blade. That's a great answer. I'm gonna say keep Laredo Kid in AEW for a spell, and him and Phoenix can get the tag titles. Or, you know what? Screw it. Phoenix and Pac. They should get those tag. They're the next contenders for those tag titles.
That's true.
Just have them drop it then. And then for the TNT title, Cody. It should be Cody. Cody should.
Yeah. It probably will be.
He should take it off. No. It should be Lance Archer. It should be Lance Archer.
Yeah.
100% Lance. It should have been Lance Archer before.
Yeah, probably should have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a bunch of boring answers. Paige should totally be next champ. It's like, unless someone gets hurt, that's totally what's going to happen.
Oh, it's totally
it'll
what's
be great.
Happen.
It'll happen in front of a crowd. People will pop because people love Hangman Page.
Oh, it'll be beautiful.
Britt or Thunder Rosa will probably be the next women's champ. I feel like if anybody's going to beat the Young Bucks, those tag titles, it's probably going to be FTR in a rematch. Now that they have Pinnacle behind them. I got Ray Phoenix win that TNT title. And how cool would it be if Death Triangle freebirded the TNT title?
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be rad because they're all amazing.
Yeah. And then, Sting should totally stick to the cinematic matches. They seem like they have a pathway to do something with Matt Hardy at the Hardy compound. Now that Matt Hardy interjected himself in that whole thing going on at the conclusion of Dynamite. So that'd be something cool to see maybe at a Double or Nothing.
No, you know what? I'm gonna go back and fix my TNT title answer. That's what Sting should do. He needs to be like, hey, Darby, I've had your back for this long. And Darby's like, I never actually asked you to have my back. And I kind of don't like you hanging around me anymore because you're old and I'm like supposed to be like the future. and Sting would be like, okay, well, I was on TNT for literally decades. I want that title with the logo of the company on it. And Darby would be like, okay, fine. I'll direct a little mini movie with us in it where I'll put you over. That should happen. Sting beats Darby Allin.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, with the baseball bat. It'd be like when the Joker killed Robin with the crowbar. Man. I know. Violent.
Do you think they would eventually give that women's title to Maki Ito since she's so big right now?
You know what? Tony Khan seems to be a guy who understands that probably wouldn't be like, isn't her thing, you know way more than I do, isn't her thing like she sort of loses a lot in like that? Isn't that like her thing?
Yeah, that is her thing. But she's so damn, like, she's so over.
She's so huge. I know.
She's so huge right now. And I think that she went back to Japan for TJPW, which is Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. But I think if they kept her on AEW and this is like her first huge win, it could be for the title. And maybe it could be like a story where it's almost a mistake that she won. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. I could see that as a possibility.
Yeah.
But totally. I also wonder, it's the kind of thing, I don't know. Because it's also the kind of thing where I've always felt a philosophy of like, if you have a person who's so over, why spend the title on that person? And so it's like, if you don't need the title, and like the title should be on somebody who it's like, it'd be weird if like for Darby Allin, it would, at this point, it would be weird for him to have not won a title because that dude is like so over and like he kills himself. With Maki Ito, it's like, it's almost like she's so over, she doesn't need it. And it's like, why would you waste the title on somebody? It's a weird philosophy, I know, but it's like, why would you waste it on somebody who doesn't? You know what? Do this mid-card title for the women. And put that on her. Why not? Prove that you're into your women's wrestling, AEW. Prove it. I don't know. Anyways, next up we got Christopher Rappersod. He's got a question about WrestleMania. Let's see what Christopher has to say.
Hello, Steven, Larson, and Alex. Who will have the best entrance at WrestleMania? I know there's no Triple H this year, but who will have the best entrance?
Thank you, Christopher. Who's going to have the best entrance at WrestleMania? It should be Shane McMahon. It should be Shane, and I don't even know what it should be. I don't know why there's so many face palms happening right now on my screen. I don't like that. Y'all are supposed to have my back here.
It's going to be brought down to the ring by like a bunch of noted geniuses.
Yeah. Like he's got
Neil deGrasse Tyson. You get Michio Kaku.
But it's like a bunch of indie wrestlers dressed up like those people. So you have like an indie wrestler. You have like an indie wrestler who's like Stephen Hawking. And you've got like an indie wrestler who looks like Neil deGrasse Tyson. That'd be amazing. And there's like a chalkboard they wheel out, and like Matt Damon introduces him.
Yeah,
but he's like,
you get Matt Damon out there.
You get Matt Damon out there,
I was gonna get to
and he's like, "How do you like them apples?"
God.
You have Braun shot to the ring in one of those Nickelodeon slime cannons they were using on the NFL games.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's good.
How about that?
Braun comes out, and like he requires Braun to come out like on. I'm still not convinced that this angle isn't just punishment for something Braun did backstage. And so like as part of that, they're like, "Hey Braun, we're gonna have a train for you that you're gonna come out on." And it's the stupidest little choo-choo train that it's like giant man on a tiny train, and he's like, "Choo-choo, yeah, that's what I want to hear." It's got to be that, because I'm not convinced that this isn't just humiliation for Braun. I don't know that Shane isn't going to like completely destroy him, outsmart him at WrestleMania. Yeah, it should be that. I'm all in on that feud, dude. I'm sorry.
I know you are.
Main event of night one. Absolutely.
It really kind of bums me out. It bums me out.
Fine, Larson, prove me wrong. Who should have the best entrance?
I've been saying for years that somehow they got to have Randy Orton ride out on a giant mechanical snake.
That'd be great too.
And until that happens, I will not be satisfied. But honestly, give Bianca Belair something that's off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, especially if she's going to win. Yeah. You know, she's going to have a star-making performance as is. Give her like the most epic entrance in the history of WrestleMania.
The ESTest entrance
Yes.
ever. What would that
Yes.
entail, though? What would that entail?
Well, her gear is going to be off the charts.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
It always is.
It's going to be
yeah.
great. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, obviously, you want like big buff dudes carrying her, right? That's like traditionally what you do.
They you know what they should? They should bring out that was it WrestleMania 3, the like little mini ring that just like rolled out just for her. Bring that back.
That's good.
That's what they should do.
That's cool.
Those were horrible though. Those look those were terrible.
But I'm sure with the like technology and the mechanics now it'd be better.
Yeah. Have her come out with a bunch of holograms of like they did the Tupac hologram, but like with other cool people. I don't know who. I don't know. Holograms of celebrities, of dead celebrities. That's what you want to do.
Doesn't work.
Or historical figures.
No.
Like, what does that have to do?
I don't know.
My God.
No.
Astronauts, but actual astronauts. Like, is Neil Armstrong still alive?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know, man. I'm trying. Neither of you came up with any good ideas. Alex is talking about little tiny toy rings.
That was a better idea than a hologram.
Yeah.
Holograms are cool, man. I'm telling you, dude. Seriously, if
they're
I
like
die,
astronauts.
I'm gonna put it in my will that like my half of this show is gonna be conducted by a Steve hologram.
Guess what? Show's over.
What? No, our views would hella go up if that was the case.
That'd be a short-term pop.
Super
after
go
that.
up.
People are like, this is weird. This is creepy. That's not real Steve. That's hologram Steve.
But like, I'm gonna have the hologram have whatever wound killed me. So like, if I get into a car wreck and my head like gets half chopped off, it's gonna be sitting there with like a head wound.
Well, that's
Test
obviously
it
a
out
term
for
of service
WrestleMania.
violation.
And that's
a
gonna
term of
be the
service
WrestleMania.
violation.
That's my WrestleMania entrance.
There
Me
you
as a
go.
hologram. All right,
Hologram Steve.
Alex, who
my
should have the
God.
best entrance at WrestleMania? Come on, man.
Well, since WrestleMania this year, they're actually going to have a crowd. I'm excited for Edge's entrance just because everyone's going to be singing that song.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one I'm definitely looking
So you
forward
want a
to.
super spreader event? You want everybody singing in each other's mouths at WrestleMania? All those germs
hopefully
everywhere.
if we're all double masking, that won't happen.
Nobody's gonna do
Nobody's
that,
doing
man.
it.
Nobody.
Nobody's
This is
doing
Florida
it.
we're talking about. Nobody's doing
Oh,
that
I
shit.
forgot we were in a Pandora.
Yeah.
I mean, I would agree.
Oh,
I'm
Ed
looking
should have
forward
a Christian hologram. That'd be
Oh
great.
my gosh.
That'd be awesome.
Enough, Steve.
And Gangrel hologram.
Yeah, it should be the Brood. Just
Yes.
bring back that Brood.
Yeah, for that song.
Yes. That'd be awesome. But in hologram form.
Stop with the holograms.
I'm all in on holograms. Braun comes out on a hologram train. Oh yeah,
like
holograms of like Stephen Hawking and Neil deGrasse Tyson. There you go.
No.
Stop with the holograms. Enough.
It's great. I have great answers. All right, here's a great question from Dirty Rich. Let's have him explain it.
Steve Larson and special guest Alex Queen of the Ring, two-time Quizlemania champion. Congratulations. I have a what if for Mad Chat this month, just because WrestleMania is just talked about so much already, and just, you know me. I take the box, I go outside of it. So, you're in front of Walter, The Undertaker, and Rikishi. One of you must take 10 open-handed chops to the chest. One must take a 30-second stink face from Kishi after he's been to Del Taco. And the third has to be thrown off Hell in a Cell by The Undertaker. So each one of you has to pick which one you're going to do, and neither one of you can pick the same one. So, again, have fun with it. Keep it real. Too sweet.
Thank you, Dirty Rich. All right,
Thank you,
Larson.
Dirty Rich.
You get first pick here. So Walter, 10 chops.
Yeah.
A 30-second, a half a minute stink face. And let's assume that Rikishi doesn't like
Dirty
any
Rich
of us.
here. Dirty Rich says he just had some Del Taco too.
or be thrown off Hell in a Cell by Undertaker.
So, like, since I get first pick here, stink face off the table, obviously.
Clearly, yeah.
So I got to decide whether I want to have a hamburger chest via Walter.
Yeah.
Or we get tossed off Hell in the Cell. I don't like heights at all.
Yeah, I hate heights.
Like heights freak me out. Like I can stand the second story of the mall, look over the railing, and I get like near vertigo. I can't handle heights anymore.
No.
Yeah.
She
made the saddest face. Said, "Oh,
I know. Oh, I can't go to the mall anymore."
Yeah,
that's what it is now.
You're like, you can't go to the mall. You just can't go to the Hot Topic up there.
I know. I want to
go to the second floor.
Oh,
GameStop! There's a GameStop up there.
Well, I got this pile of games I want to sell for $2 a piece. I can't get up there.
Man, they're giving you $2? That's a bounty.
Well, they're AAA titles, Steve.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'll take the Walter Chops.
Yeah, I know. Of course, it's Walter Chops.
It's either the Walter Chops to get the hamburger chest, which that's kind of a badge of honor, I guess.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely, it is.
And then, but I guess getting tossed off Hell in a Cell is a bit of a badge of honor too, because they say it's 20 feet in the air.
You die.
There's a crash pad underneath that announce table.
There was one Foley did it though.
I know,
this would be a Foley one. This would be a Foley one.
Oh, let's go back to that.
Yeah, crash pad makes it easier. We all look, dude. Let's not kid ourselves. We all know what it's going to be. Larson is going to be Chops. Alex, you're going to choose to be thrown off Hell in a Cell, and I'm going to get an asshole in my face. I'm assuming is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay,
that's right.
Y'all are jerks. Y'all are jerks.
I would take the Hell in a Cell if like they replaced the table with those like big bouncy houses.
Oh, hell yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, they're not going to do that.
That'd be fun.
Why not? Why not? At WrestleMania 35, was it the Miz and the Shane match where one of them got tossed off? Was it Shane? Probably it was Shane. I don't know.
Yeah. It was a giant balloon.
I was there in that section, and it was just a huge mat where he fell. And I was like, well, if that's the case, let me get into wrestling. I want to wrestle.
Even if that thing was the size of a house, I would find a way to miss it. I would because that is how poorly coordinated I am. I would find a way to miss it. Be like, that thing was massive. How did that idiot split his head open? I'm like, I don't know. Well, this is what I can do. This is what I do.
Well, if you take a stink face, will you wear a mask while you take a stink face?
Well, in that case, a double mask. Absolutely. Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, if you were allowed to wear like double mask, like I would totally do the stink face. That I'm fine with that. But otherwise, if it's just like raw butt versus, rubbing up against my face.
That's the only thing
I reserve that for very few people. Yeah. And Rikishi's not on that list.
Yeah. 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 I could go either way on the chops or the Hell in the Cell, but the stink face. Mm-mm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's not even close. It's like Chops, Hell in a Cell, and then like way down here is having that dude rub his butt.
Especially Hell in a Cell with the crash pad. I mean, if so long as it's a pretty good chance that you're gonna, I'm talking like 99% chance to hit that crash pad. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah, it could be fun. Yeah, it could be. There's
nothing fun about taking Walter Chops. So
no, but like you said, it is kind of a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Like you get a cool picture afterwards, like, oh wow, look what he did. That's
PCO
cool.
chest after.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I was there for that.
Oh, really?
The sound of those chops were gnarly.
Oh, yeah. How many were there? How many do you just off like is there an estimate? Like how many did he get?
I mean, this was like 4 a.m. and it was in New Orleans, so I was not sober. So I don't really remember. But I honestly just remember the sound of it, and it was like it sounded like gunshots straight up. Oh. And I've gone on record and said that I would take chops from Walter because I grew up with 2 older brothers where I was taking super kicks and pile drivers. And I want to take a kendo stick one day, hopefully soon. Are
you actually gonna start getting into wrestling? Are you gonna try to do some matches, Alex?
Maybe. Backyard wrestling, it's coming back, baby.
Oh, there we go.
Dude, I will show up for that show. I will cheer you on from the safety of the grass of the lawn. I'll totally do that. All right, we got one last text question from Luisa Reza. And he says, "Hey, friendos and queen, what moves saved or changed a wrestler's career? For example, Steve Austin becoming Stone Cold, Punk's pipe bomb. What's your favorite one of those moments. Alex, on the spot, you're first.
It's probably with all due respect, one of the greatest things that Nia Jax has ever done, and that was breaking Becky Lynch's nose. Because if you think about it, like, Becky Lynch was already messing around with that man gimmick in Evolution with her last woman standing match against Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And when Nia broke her nose, it just, like, again, kicked it into second gear. And it, like, she became that character. I feel like without that incident, her becoming the man, it just wouldn't have resonated as well if she didn't break her nose.
Yeah, it was definitely her Stone. I mean, everybody at the time, and I think it was apropos, were relating it to Stone Cold's Bret Hart WrestleMania moment where he was covered
another
in blood.
thing too is she was supposed to face Ronda at Survivor Series, and if that match had happened, Becky probably would have lost that.
Yeah.
You know, and so the main event at Mania, the following Mania, might not have ever happened without that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. And then they threw in Charlotte, and then that match ended in a DQ because Charlotte just snapped and just beat the hell out of Ronda with the kendo stick. And then the whole crowd turned on Ronda. So if it wasn't those series of events, that main event at WrestleMania probably wouldn't have been as epic as it was.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. All right, so I have two answers that really stand out to me, and I'm trying to think which was more impactful. One of them was John Cena showing up at the Halloween party as Vanilla Ice and spitting some bars, some rhymes at the Halloween party. And then it was like, oh, wow, that's actually a pretty impressive thing. Why don't you just make that your gimmick? And then he started wearing jorts and jerseys, and literally like one of the biggest names in wrestling history. And then the Suicide Squad trailer just dropped, and he's hilarious in it. And so I'm going to say John Cena, or this one's maybe bigger, maybe given the time and like the impact, but Sting having talked to maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin, Scott Hall in a locker room.
Saying, right?
What's that? Crow Sting.
Joker Sting. Oh, Joker Sting.
Yeah, Joker Sting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sting having watched The Dark Knight Returns. Or just The Dark Knight, I guess. Or talking to Scott Hall or whoever it was that did this, because apparently that story is refuted. Scott Hall's version of it is refuted in the Nitro book. When Sting went from being like, normal Sting to being Crow Sting, because he was like, I mean, I remember seeing that. I was like, wow, I mean, this is totally ripping something off, but this is pretty cool. It's like when I was getting into wrestling was when he was doing the Crow stuff. And it was like, and then he didn't wrestle for like 18 months. He was just hanging out in the rafters. That was pretty cool. So yeah, I'll go with those two answers.
Okay. I'm going to say Okada after what he had to go through in TNA, coming upon the Rainmaker gimmick.
Oh yeah.
In New Japan.
I thought you were going to say Balloon Okada when he lost the title and just started carrying balloons and had red hair.
Give me basically any iteration of Okada and I'm happy.
It's all great. Now
I
it's
thought
like
I thought you were gonna say Okada showing off his thighs.
The
I was
thighsies.
Like, I agree.
Everybody on my Twitter feed blew up. It blew up when his thighs were exposed. And I think it was all dramatic too. Wasn't he wearing like something?
And he had pants for the year prior to that.
Yeah. And they were like, wait a second, is there some thigh meat there? And then he took off the robe and it was like, what?
All thigh meat.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was great.
Could you imagine if he was wearing like some of those like trunks that Tai Chi wears that are like barely holding on, like they're like always sagging? People would have exploded even more, man.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, people exploded at the Madison Square Garden show. People were like, we got to see some thighs. Like the whisper of thighs was building up. And then he exposed them. And I was like, we had a great Muda pop, but that was probably second biggest pop of the night were his thighs.
It's like the glass breaks, but instead of Stone Cold, it's Okada's thighs. Thigh meat. All right. Anyways, this has been wildly fun. Alex, thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, y'all, Steve.
And
MF Steve Jobs. Here we go.
Well, tonight is listen, Monday is Raw. So I know maybe you're free for that. And it's no. Okay.
I'll be watching Tough Enough on my Twitch channel. We started the first season like the first MTV season. It's been so good, and we're gonna move on to the second season. So I'm busy.
Who came out of that Tough Enough? Was it?
It was Maven.
Oh,
that's Nadia.
Oh, Nydia.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so old. And I remember watching it. I was out of college already.
We were in college when that happened.
We were in college. All right. Oh my goodness. I remember when Maven eliminated the Undertaker, didn't he? That's like his big thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's like so nostalgic because in the auditions is in the WWF restaurant in Times Square.
Oh yeah.
And we used to go there all the time, and we actually met The Rock there.
What?
Yeah, The Rock did his book signing. I still have the book, actually.
Oh my God!
Hold on, let me get the book.
We're gonna see the book, everybody.
Yeah, I have the signature. Hold on. Oh, it's so cool. Okay, so I was in second grade. And I had like perfect attendance, and my mom made sure that I kept the perfect attendance. Took me to school, waited in the lobby. Awesome. They took my attendance down, and she was like, "We're blowing this popsicle stand. We're going to Times Square." So we went to Times Square. We waited for 8 hours in the snow to meet him, and we met him. We couldn't take a picture with him, which sucked. But this is his book.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's his
look at that!
Wow.
Treasure it.
I was in second grade. He called me Little Mama, which is problematic now, but got me real excited back in the day.
Little Mama. Oh my God.
Little Mama. He had like the glasses, the gold chain, like the cheetah print shirt on. Like, oh man, it was the coolest experience ever. So it was really cool to like watch that show, Tough Enough, and be like, oh my God, I remember that section. I remember this store, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Now it's the bogus Hard Rock Cafe.
Oh, I ran into Jeff Hardy in line at McDonald's once. That's my claim to fame.
I was hung around Eddie Guerrero in the Cragen Auto Parts parking lot for an autograph signing.
Mine wasn't even an autograph signing. He just was going to McDonald's one day, and I was like,
ran into a wrestler while he's trying to get some food.
Hey, it's
Do
Jeff
you
Hardy.
remember what he ordered?
No, we left. There was like a longer line, and we were on our way. Me and Jeff, we were on our way to like L.A. or Sacramento, one of the two. And it was McDonald's, and we didn't. They had just debuted, and they were like in line, or it was just Jeff Hardy, and our buddy Jeff was like, "I think that's a wrestler," and then he goes up to him and he's about to say, "Aren't you Christian?" And I went up and I said, "Hey, you're Jeff Hardy." And then he was so sleepy though. I think he was gonna like inhale the probably 2 cheeseburger meal he was gonna order and then just like nod off or something in the car. I think we passed him too. It was like the Hardys. It was like Team Extreme and Edge and Christian, I think, in the car together. So that's my story. Anyways, that's it for Matt Chat. Thanks everybody for indulging our memories.
Thank you, Alex.
Our stories. Thanks, Alex. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.